Hello and welcome to the Moinescape podcast. I am Matt Moody, joined by DJ Mitchell. We're here to go through the 9-game Tuesday, March 17th daily fantasy slate. Let's get into it.
You're sitting there looking like an idiot.
Well, is that any different than normal?
This is the first time I will admit was unbelievably wrong.
So, DJ, we had a weekend. We did a Saturday show on a Saturday, bright and early. How was your weekend? How was your Monday?
Weekend was okay. I don't know. From like a betting and DFS perspective, it was not great, but it wasn't horrific. I feel like it was just sort of bad. And then I feel like with the best ball stuff, I went from like 8 teams to like 17 teams during the week, and then I ended up with 15, and then it dropped to 13. And after like an hour of being really fucking angry about it, I was like, 13 still good. So I don't know. It's all is what it
Like
is.
you to act like a massive baby about everything. Very unlike you.
Right. It is exactly like me. Thank you for reminding me. But 13 still good. Excited for round 3. Excited for the next upcoming weeks. I feel like there's like a few different parts of the year I look forward to the most. And as college players start to enter the NHL, I really look forward to checking in on who might get a big role and who might be worth betting on and all that good stuff. And honestly, I look forward to just the best tournament in all of college sports, the Frozen Four.
Yeah, a couple names already signed with NHL teams. Nothing for the Tuesday slate that we need to unpack though.
Yeah.
So we'll save
Cole
the
Hudson would have been a cover
Sasha.
boy.
Yeah, we'll save the Sasha Boiverd and Boivert. I don't even know how to say his name.
Yep.
And Cole Hudson talk for another day. But it's coming. It sure is coming. Avs new lineup or new top 6: Nichushkin, McKinnon, Nachos, Kadri, Nelson, Nick Waugh. Okay.
You know what? I'm sad and angry, but Kadri wasn't getting points before that anyway, so who cares? Kadri just get a point. I don't care where. Is it 11 and 7?
Yeah.
All right.
They don't have any
players.
So
their beat reporter said it was staying the same with the top line, so I went with it, but alas. We'll see. We will see.
Yeah. Mondays, and just a complete and utter disaster. That'll happen when 50% Detroit won goes absolutely apeshit. I guess it's better to have it all happen in one day instead of something goes wrong here, something goes wrong there. So everything is bad, and that's the way it is. Tuesday we have 9 games. Yep. The rainbow sheet is ready to go. I do not know, however, if the DJ slate overview is ready to go. So what you got for me here?
Is it ever not ready to go? I mean, I wish there was more exciting and fun things to talk about, but I feel like it's only a scattering of injuries that have like kind of put this slate into the current position. I mean, are you ready to storm the Department of Player Safety with the city of Toronto? Are you thinking that the media is out to get Toronto? Not the media, but the NHL is really out to get Toronto. But then I heard something else today by one of my friends texted me and was like, actually, it's that the NHL is trying to ensure that they get Gavin McKenna going the other direction. So I have to ask you first, whose side are you on the Austin Matthews getting need situation by Radko Gudas? Are you on the NHL is not out to get Toronto side? Are you on the NHL is actually trying to ensure that they, reward them in the off season? Like, where's your head at before I get going on the more nonsense?
There's a famous saying. I think it's something to the extent of, "Do not attribute to malice what can be explained merely by incompetence." And I think that's what we're looking at. We're looking at hockey people through and through making decisions. What do we know about hockey people? They're fucking stupid. Okay, so then what about their decisions? Are they evil or are they stupid? No, they're just stupid. They're not evil. So, no, I do not think the NHL is putting their thumb on the scale in any appreciable way, more so than usual. It's just that they're a bunch of idiots.
Okay. So we'll get back to the normal nonsense other than that, because that story has dominated almost all of the hockey content that I consumed today and yesterday, but mainly today.
I'm
We have
very
3 birthdays
sorry.
tomorrow. I believe only one is playing. Yes, only one is, no, 2 are playing. Andrew Peak, Boston, I believe he'll be in.
I think he's a
Mikael
scratch. He
Backlund.
was scratched
Is
tonight.
he a scratch today?
You know what?
Damn.
You know what though? For the birthday, he goes in on the back to back. I bet.
Yeah. Mikael Backlund, who is not on this slate, but is playing as we speak. And of course, I mean, a moods dude through and through, Will Smith. And a DJ dude through and through, Mr. Daniel Dillon's wrong. Not on the slate, of course, but in our hearts.
I mean, the KHL slate I think is going to be
You
lit
know,
for this one.
I'm scrolling a little bit further. Bobby Ryan's birthday, Christian Bolanin. Remember Christian
Yeah.
Bolanin? I think there's just a lot of guys here on this birthday. This is an interesting list of guys. But
I'll
Bobby
say.
Ryan, I feel like was like remember how good he was for a short stretch? I don't know. Yeah, we can move on, or
Hell
I'll
yeah.
start reminiscing about a bunch of guys.
Yeah, no, Bobby Ryan. Those are the days. Good old, I think he's a Cherry Hill boy from here in Philly.
Yep. So yeah, I
Um,
think we should just probably dive in game by game rather than go into too much more nonsense. Like I could cover one thing from every game or what, but like there's a couple of games that are above the rest, and there's some spots that are like really important to discuss as far as certain players that are going to be out and in, and where they're going to line up in the in the lineup.
um, that's fine. We could pander to the chat a bit, but I don't know how you're feeling about the chat these days. I feel like you're not
The
quite the man
chat,
of the people that you must were once were.
I mean, the chat's talking about, I believe, the March Madness. I don't.
I have
If St.
absolutely no
Bonaventure
idea
is
though.
bad, I don't care. Florida
I
Gulf
have
Coast.
Florida Gulf Coast. Is that your Final Four pick?
That's what someone said. That was DJ and Stoner. I don't know. I honestly, I mean, I know there's some teams that are really good that could probably, like, if you said name all 64 teams right now, I think if I really tried, I could get 20.
I feel like you would
Like
get like
I might look into a
35
bunch of
based on
them.
luck alone. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like some teams that are automatically in. I know the only team I know for sure made it was Miami of Ohio in playing game, because that's all anyone wanted to talk about was this stupid fucking school. And I went to a stupid fucking school, so I would know stupid fucking schools better than anybody. We can get into the slate though, because I certainly don't want to talk about March Madness. I'm sure there's plenty of people hawking picks. Have at it. We get into the game of the Carolina Hurricanes at the Columbus Blue Jackets. Svechnikov is a question mark. He didn't practice on Monday, so I would keep an eye on that. It seemed like an illness, so your guess is as good as mine. Any thoughts on that situation and what you would do if you're going to play the Carolina Hurricanes,
No.
or are we just not going to play the Carolina Hurricanes for the 90 or 152nd slate in a row?
Yeah, it feels like never playing the Carolina Hurricanes is once again a decent enough strategy, so that's fine by me. Um, I don't know. I Svechnikov, yeah, he's technically a question mark. Injury, I don't know. They didn't really what they used someone in his spot. Or were they one of the teams that didn't practice? I don't know. Whatever. The funny thing about preparing by looking at 18 teams is that you read stuff and you go, oh, that's worthy, and then you update your shit, and then you get to this point and it's like, oh wait, I don't remember any of the specifics that I didn't just write on the Excel sheet. So in any case, I expect him to play, but yeah, keep an eye out for it. It's not 100% guaranteed that Svechnikov is in which case I would expect that to, elevate one of Hall, Stankoven, or Blake to the top unit. Likely Blake, but if they want to keep the handedness, Taylor Hall. Or they just go Nick Ehlers
Sure.
and Dornstall, which is, a crazy thing for the power play one, but theoretically possible, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the Carolina Hurricanes is they're going to have 31 shots on goal to 33 shots on goal. They're going to spread that out between every player having exactly 2. I don't have interest in there's no upside here play. If anything, like I am kind of a Jackson Blake guy. you can say that that's one of my worst qualities, or some might say it's one of my best, but it is a quality that I have. I will probably consider I would consider him, especially if he's promoted into a top six or a power play role. Other than that, not that interested. The Blue Jackets have been competent enough that I just don't really feel the need to target them, and Carolina doesn't have high explosive upside. So just a no from me on all fronts. I'm okay to move over to the Blue Jackets if you are.
All right. Jordan Stahl continues to be pretty decent for 3K, and that's about it. I'm guessing we get a
Yeah,
better cheap center option though. On the Columbus side of things, they played a 2-1 game against the Flyers on Saturday. In that game, they switched up Marchment and Sillinger for stretches. Fantilli got into a fight, so things looked weird from their lineup. There was no in the third period they did X that I would update to. So I left it as Sillinger, Fantilli, Marchenko. But really, what we know for sure is that Johnson, Monahan, Garland should be a line. They are still unbelievably cheap, 10,000 on the nose for three players who over the last 10 games generate. Actually, I tried to update Natural Stat Trick to include the weekend's games, and it didn't want to catch. So let me see
yeah.
if I
It's
can
not.
get
It's
that
not.
updated.
It's still not working.
Okay.
I think Natural Statric has an issue because I can't get
I
anything
think
to work. Although I guess
I just got it to work. So
really,
yeah, let's
try again.
let's pop this in and see what it looks like now. Okay, about the same. What do you know? 10K for a line that's generating 26 expected points per game and even
That's
21 actual. Um, might come in handy. And then, the third line is the third line. Marchman and Coyle, if that sticks on the top unit, but 11.4K for some power play action. That's all well and good. Jenner, Lundestrom, Voronkov, sure, why not? Fantilli's cheap enough to the point where I think if you're on the Fantilli train, you just keep going, like regardless of matchup or whatever else. And then Marchenko is obviously a nice candidate to go along with that. I don't know if I'm spending 7,800 for Rowensky in this matchup. Like that's where I sort of start to go, okay, well that's taking away from what I can
okay.
do with the rest of my lineup. But yeah, I like
I
both
mean,
of the top six forward lines.
he's dangerously close to being Seth Jarvis at the same price as Seth Jarvis, just having not the ceiling we're used to with Werenski, and that is concerning. But I do think it'll pop any day now. It's just hard to see that popping against the Hurricanes, and it is the cheapest we've seen him in months. But even at that price, it's still not a play that I think you have to play because it's I got to be the most expensive defenseman. Yeah, the most expensive defenseman on the entire slate. So plenty to spend up on. If you're stacking Columbus, you can consider it. Other than that, it's a no go from me. There is plenty of cheaper options we're going to get to, but even with them, I just don't think it's worth the squeeze. I'm probably fading this game. I do think there's some interesting props worth discussing, especially like point props where like Marchenko and stuff, but we'll check that out tomorrow. We can move over to Boston and Montreal. Boston will be on a back-to-back. It is still tied 3-3 last I checked with the Devils. Let's see if that has hung on. It is still 3-3. So they will be going into a, let's just say that the first and foremost here, like Fraser Minton does make it interesting. He is 3,500. He's been very, very, very good. He should be slotted in with Pastrnak, although Pastrnak plays with conceivably everybody with just how good David Pastrnak is and how valuable he is, that he'll play more minutes than everybody else at forward as the Bruins need wins this time of year. So second line, same configuration, same price, same, outperforming, I would say, their price tag at large. Zaka power play 1, Arvidsson power play 2. We get Lindholm and Geeky now together as these guys don't really do anything. Power play 1 stack of the night.
Ugh.
But if you like guys that don't really do anything, I got the perfect 2-man for you. So yeah, I don't like Boston. I'm not going to play Boston. They are at least different than they were before, but I would love if like Geeky was where Kuzanadinov was, then I might have a bit more interest, but this configuration's just not really going to do it for me on a back-to-back.
Yeah, I mean, it's like on the other side, like, yeah, it's, I don't know. I feel like Montreal is just much more appealing. And yeah, Pasternak's been fine. I know over the weekend we are like, oh, his numbers are so low, and then all of a sudden his expecteds jumped up a bit, but the actual production didn't follow. Is this game like, yeah, Pasternak's probably fine, but even then he has 2 shots, 2 goals. Like, it's not like he's getting the shots bonus every night, which of course we need for 8,800 and on a back to back on the road. Not really interested. Nowhere else stands out to me either. I like Fraser Minton, but 3,500, it's kind of like, okay, we're getting toward, the 4K range that has very viable players. Um, yeah, on the Montreal side, I would be shocked if this weren't fairly popular.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see what the team totals look like. The game looks very up tempo. No surprise, I would imagine, to anyone listening via the Rainbow Sheep. But any time you get Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Caulfield playing the way they are against a back-to-back team at home, it is 19.8K, sub 20,000 for a line that's averaging, just about 37 DK points on average, or expected DK points, 39 actual. Those are some of the best numbers on the night. You're not paying, 24K for that line like some of these top tier lines. You're paying, 20K. So that's fairly interesting. Demidov also caps off a power play stack. He's looked, pretty electric down the stretch here for them. Hasn't really followed with production, but that one timer that the playmaking all looks like it's ripe for ceiling. I think he'll be more of a ceiling creator than a ceiling, I want to say generator for himself. But even then, that just sort of shovels the production onto Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Caulfield because Lane Hudson's also not stealing, that offensive shot output for himself either. So I think there's just a lot of reasons like that top line. With Kirby Doc getting injured, there's like, the last time we saw them change up the top line, it was Doc with Suzuki and Caulfield. So like even less reason to think that that's going to be broken up or anything. So I like the top line here and pretty much nothing else. But there are some cheap guys down the lineup.
Yeah, I mean the top 4 teams on the slate for implied team total are all kind of in the same little quadrant. Montreal being one of them, with Edmonton, Minnesota, and Tampa. I got to assume this is the best correlation at the price comparatively to the rest. It's going to be very popular. I don't think it's going to get by anybody. Lane Hudson and Noah Dobson are great additions if you want to make it a 4-man. I don't know how much more I could really add to this. Like, I guess consider Demidov maybe if you want to get even more unique. Like, he is shooting a bit more as of late, and you're seeing that role continue to blossom. Especially games they're losing, they're just putting him out there a lot more because they need offense. So if you think it's competitive, it's just like you can't really build a game stack here without Pasternak, and I don't know how you're fitting that in. So like you're really, I mean, you're obviously not like you're playing the 4-man Pasternak, and then I don't even know if a lineup could actually work. So yeah, it's a tricky one. I think I end up not playing it myself and just hoping that back-to-back Boston can limit that top line to, not breaking the slate on me, and looking elsewhere for some other stacks.
All right. Next game up, Islanders and Toronto. Talk about best puck. I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
I think 13 teams advanced for me. Unless if you mean the playoffs we're going to get to when things cement a little bit more.
Yeah, no, and I don't know, 9 for me. Great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Boys are cooking.
That's I don't even know. I didn't do the math on what yeah, I didn't even think about
7.5.
All I know is my teams are fucking dust. Okay.
Yeah, well, if you did like the 3 of 12 and then the 2 of 10 from the 150, it should be 7.5.
Got it. Well, great. I did it. Better than last year where I had 0 advance to this round.
Well, right now I have 4, so stop the count, in my opinion.
Yeah. If there's an injured player in the league, I have at least 3 shares of them on my 9 teams, so it's fine. Heineman, Horvat, Barzell for the Islanders as of practice today. Duclair, Shen, Holmstrom, Lee, Pajot, Ritchie. That's a shakeup of a little proportion, not epic proportions, but Shen Holmstrom is a little interesting. We didn't see a power play, so there's a chance that Ritchie comes off the top unit, and that would be Holmstrom, the right shot going there. But Horvat Barzal playing together against Toronto, fairly interesting, of course. The narrative around Matthew Schaefer returning to Ontario. Um, I'm guessing for the first time, given the questions he was being asked. But it is what it is. He's 6,200. Going to probably be one of the more owned threesomes of the night between Schaefer, Horvat, Barzell. Any interest in that at ownership, and any interest in anywhere else down the lineup at less ownership?
So I was just looking at the past, 3 starts for both goalies in Toronto. Uh, Joseph Woll has had games of 32 shots against, 40 shots against, 33 shots against. Stolarz had games of 47, 32, and 38. One of those games, a couple about one. They'll go through the games. A couple of these teams are teams like Buffalo and Minnesota that are a bit better than average. Tampa. You also got like the Devils in there with a 47 bomb. I do agree with you that like this is going to be a pretty popular spot. It's not the highest implied team total. It's a minus 135 on the road for the Islanders, a 5.5 game. But I do think that so much of the production comes through such a small delineation of players that like it's just going to make a lot of sense for teams or for people that are building to go this route. They've been anemic. I definitely like it. I like it just as much as probably anybody else, but you're paying into it. I'm certainly putting in Emil Heineman. Like, I feel like if the stack is getting there, it's coming through this guy who has I think the most lethal shot of the three on the top line. Horvat's a better player overall and can create more goals even on his own and can definitely bury a puck from anywhere. But, I'd go the whole way here. Matthew Schaefer was quoted as saying he had 1,000 friends and family coming to the game by his estimation. A bit of a joke, but this game does mean something to him, and I think people will read into that narrative more so than it's probably worth. So I think at the end of the day, I end up not on this, but it's really just an ownership situation. This is not a good, this is a great play. It makes sense in every capacity, but a lot of people are going to follow that same logic.
Yeah, was Austin Matthews holding Toronto back? They come out of Minnesota with a resounding 4-2 win. I think the only offense Minnesota had generated was one shift where Tarasenko scored twice in 15 seconds or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
it is funny because it was almost a dead even 4-2 in expected goals, the opposite direction of the score. But
amen.
Watching the game, and I
back.
watched a bit of it. Wait, did you lose me?
No, I said the Leafs are back.
Yeah, I mean, again, Minnesota looked I feel like there's a lot of shot attempts, as I mentioned, and a lot of there was a good number of saves, but not as many dangerous chances as you might think in there. And it just kind of felt like Minnesota wasn't able to find their game against a Toronto team that I don't know, they're playing for something right now. It's every single person in the media, coach, GM, everyone has called them out for having being gutless, having no pride, and they're playing with some level of pride. So I think this game is definitely interesting on the Islander side because I do think it'll be up tempo, but these are pretty reduced pricing for guys that are just going to play a lot of minutes in Toronto. There's about 3 or 4, maybe 5 spots that this makes a lot of sense. Nyes had 21 minutes last game. Tavares had 20, Nylander 18. Bo, how do you say his name again? I always want to say it wrong.
I think it's just Gruel.
Gruel,
just kind of
yeah,
growl, and it's
Gruel. Yeah, he scored twice on the nominal third line. Didn't see any power play run, but did see 17 minutes of ice time. I'm not saying he's a player or anything, but random guys are going to peek their head in. Michelli has been really useful in the role with Tavares and Nylander. They're going to bounce guys around. I don't know if there's anything that I'm over the moon about, but I could definitely see bringing it back with Nyes at the very least if you're stacking the Islanders. Could you even squint and say Morgan Riley, or is it just what are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, especially OEL didn't play last game because he was back in Toronto. I think his wife or partner of some sort was having a baby, so he was taking care of that. Back at home, I imagine he'll play. 3,400 if he's on the top unit, that would be interesting. Obviously, without him, Morgan Riley was on the top power play. Both of those guys are just better than 37, 3,400. So be wary of ownership because obviously they're not guarantees to get you points, but they certainly have ceiling that not many players this cheap have. as far as point production is concerned. So if we get indication of one of those guys is on the top power play, that would be quite interesting to me. And then I think Michelli is just very clearly an option. Doesn't I don't think he's overly deferential to his line mates in the way that he's not going to be an Alex Wenberg or Chandler Stevenson where like yeah he gets minutes and he just doesn't do anything. Like he'll do enough to warrant I think consideration, and he's just 3,500, which in this role is just pretty criminal.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of cheap options. I don't mind the nice thing. It's 1,200 more than
Yeah.
Michelli. I prefer Michelli personally, but I do get,
Yeah.
especially if you're not
I
stacking,
just
why you
yeah.
would go the nice route.
That's the point. Like I think if you're like one offing the other direction, then it makes point. But yeah, everything makes sense there. I mean, another team that makes a lot of sense, and I feel like there's a few spots we already mentioned that are going to be chalky, and this one feels like it should be, but probably won't be because it's so expensive. Is Minnesota. Like Kaprizov and Boldy have been just absolutely sensational. It feels like nobody around them is coming along for the ride, and are they even getting enough points to really meet the 8,900 Kaprizov, 8,200 Boldy? Like it's kind of like yeah, like in a vacuum they've done it, but like it hasn't happened for a while for Boldy where he's put
Yeah.
the slate to bed. It's been a couple weeks at least, and you think people are going to kind of shy away from a wild team that just Kaprizov as well. Like I'm not the Seth Jarvis meter is peaking up on Kirill Kaprizov as like oh yeah he can get 20, but can he get 30?
Okay.
Like
Well,
obviously the
use
answer
your
is yes,
fucking
but
brain. Like, okay,
well, yeah, he
come on.
can and he will, but like he hasn't lately. He
Yeah,
hasn't
okay,
lately.
that's
Will
a
he do it
different
against
thing than
Chicago?
Seth Jarvis, who like hasn't done it in a fucking 3 months, and like is the sort of player on the sort of team that we'd say that about. You can't just look at game logs like, oh, he hasn't
Yeah,
done it in 9 games. Is he Seth Jarvis? Like, no, like shut the fuck
I'm
up.
saying I'm saying will the people think that, and will the
No, no
people be
one looks at
wrong?
anything besides projections, CJ. Don't even bother.
All right, I'm
Uh,
trying to build
I
made up
mean,
narratives.
the first, second, and third thing we should mention here is that they did hit the nuclear option against Toronto. I'm guessing that doesn't hold, but they did go Boldy, Erickson, at Kaprizov down the stretch of that game, which of course would be incredibly interesting to us. 22.5K for those three players, obviously excellent, all in their own right. But yeah, Matt Boldy, if the lineup stays the way it is, it just remains one of my favorite one-off plays on the slate. He's just awesome. I can't say enough positive things about Matt Boldy, so just know that he's probably underpriced at 8,200. Like he's simply put, I think one of the five best fantasy players in the game. As long as Quinn Hughes is on his team, like that's the way he's playing. So, um,
Yeah, I mean it's
yeah,
like these two guys are tied in third for goals in the entire league. I mean, like what are we like? Yeah, I don't know. It obviously it's pretty obvious. It's a great play. I mean, I like if I'm playing Minnesota, I'm playing both of them. It's not really an option. I just like to mess around with our wild chat members. Wild in both the way they chat and the fandom that they choose. And then yeah, I mean Quinn Hughes at 6,700. He's come down in price a bit, but he's also kind of come down in upside. But is that 4-man even an option? I don't know, but it feels like that's a piece
interesting.
that's tough to include.
Interesting. The Canucks fan. I mean, hey, Marco Rossi. He's a guy. We'll get to him. We'll get to him. You don't need to
Yeah,
you
yep,
don't
yep,
need to
yep.
downplay Quinn Hughes here on this here podcast there, Tom. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, actually,
tongue in
wait,
cheek.
I'm onto something. He's lost so much money betting on Krill's ceiling, so maybe I am onto something. I mean, again, like you're talking
No,
to
I think
preseason, the guy that was like, who could win the MVP is Kirill Kaprizov, and like he isn't even in consideration, and he has 38 goals and like I don't know what 1,000 points. So tough break for me. He
yeah,
is what
he
eighth in the league in points.
I'm sure he's going to be very sad with his $17 million a year paycheck coming in that he's not getting MVP consideration. How
More
about
than I'm
title of
making
the
a year.
highest paid player in the league to wipe your tears with there, Kirill?
Yeah. I love the Wild tomorrow, though. I do think that they'll be less owned than like Montreal and the Islanders, and we haven't even gotten to a couple other teams that I think could be just as highly owned. And I just don't really respect Chicago as we put up their lineup right now. They've been pretty bad outside of Connor Bedard. The second line is interesting. But I just don't know how you play it without Bedard, and I really don't have interest in playing it in this matchup. But could you talk me into Teravainen, Frank Nazar, and Tyler Bertuzzi?
Why would I do that? No, thank you. I am
Perfect.
a-okay not playing a line that is almost 13,000 when there are many 10, 11K lines that I like just as much. Worth noting,
Brave.
Levshinov, power play one in practice, also moved up alongside Alex Vlasic. If there is a top pair on this team, it will be that. So I'm not sure. They've gone, Alex Vlasic's role has not been the way it was like a couple years ago when he was like the unquestioned number one. But that line or that D pair is quite interesting. Levshinov is the dead minimum matchup with Minnesota. Defense, blah blah blah, all the stuff that listeners of the pod have known for 8 years now about how I think about things. I think Levshinov is an incredibly interesting way to free up some salary here at the dead minimum. So I'm not playing anyone else. Ryan Donato, 2,700. He's fun. Maybe a turbo slate or something. I'll mix in a Donato, but incredibly thin for a main slate with nine games on it.
100%. Nothing else to add. We move on to Nashville and Winnipeg. The fight for pretending that they're still alive for a wild card spot in the West rages on. Nashville, I think if there's a team that I also love to bet on, it's Nashville. But I do think, as you're showing, this might be a spot that I just can't get on board with two teams that I really don't believe in producing high levels of offense. Are we going to get Matthew Wood for more than 13 minutes? The answer could be yes. Is that enough for you to consider playing them?
I'm not considering playing Nashville, nor am I considering
Cool.
playing Winnipeg. Thank you for the question.
That's a good question, and I'm glad you answered it quickly. But Wood, he did play 15 minutes. He was with Marchessault and Forsberg. He didn't go great against Edmonton, but that is what it is. Edmonton's a better hockey team, so tough break for those guys. I feel like Nashville has skill. They have upside. They have players that are producing at some level, especially Forsberg, who is, I don't know, at least shooting the puck and 6,800, but he's still 6,800, and I'm not going to pay that price in this matchup for this team. So, yeah, I think I'm out. There might be interesting guys that are coming in. There's made up players like Ryan Ufko, who scored a ridiculous goal as his first NHL goal, but like they're not really relevant. But maybe at some point we see somebody playing more than like 11 minutes in Ufko, or we see a
I
top
think,
power play spot for Matthew Wood, and we'll
yeah,
find out the hard way.
I think I saw that highlight and I got some crazy deja vu. I'm pretty sure last weekend, Ufko came down the slot and did almost the exact same thing and deked someone out of their shoes and didn't score. But I remember watching that. Like, I think it was more because it was Saturday he scored, right? Or was it last night?
Um, no, I think it was like Thursday he had the crazy goal, but then he scored. He
Okay.
scored again. I think I don't remember.
Okay.
Honestly,
Maybe
every day
that's
is
what I'm thinking
made
of
up at this
then.
point. He scored on the 10th.
I don't know. Okay, so yeah, that never mind. That's definitely what it was.
Wow.
Um, he was trying shit that I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And
Yeah,
he
he
has he has
doesn't
a really
shoot,
good
but
yeah, he has a really interesting AHL profile this year too. Like he was awesome
yeah,
for Milwaukee. So you don't need it though because we just talked about Levshinov, and also against the Oilers, Nashville just played 4D. Like they ran Yossi Shea, Haig, Perbix, and then they just mixed in the other 2D in the existing pairs. It was really interesting. It obviously didn't work, but they are still really throwing everything they have out there. So if you are somehow a Brady Shea person still, if you like 26 minutes from $2,800 defensemen who are okay fantasy wise, he's been terrible of late, but he has the long term rates to warrant such a play. Just you can't beat the usage there, and I think that's noteworthy considering the matchup and
yeah.
everything else. It's like why not? Speaking of sub 3K defensemen who suck and get minutes, DJ, why don't you talk to me about your favorite player in the world, Elias Selamonson?
Yeah, Salem Monson is playing the minutes. He's getting the power play role. They're also kind of pretty much. I think it is actually funny against St. Louis. Like they played the
Ah,
top four so many minutes. All three of their 5-on-5 goals came with Bryson and Fleury on the ice at 5-on-5 for the 12 minutes that they played as a pair. But Salem Monson is like he's very involved, and like I don't know, he's just a guy that just kept noticing, and then I looked into his stats a little bit more, and it didn't really give me a ton of confidence like he's going to be a long term, massive,
Shocker.
rates guy or whatever. But he's playing minutes, he's blocking pucks here or there, he's shooting once in a while. He could get you an assist in a pinch if he's feeling up to it. But yeah, he's got 3 points in 23 games, so I don't know. Probably not a good play. Minimum salary, it was like whatever. Power play too at 2,900. It's like it's probably worse than Brady Shea, and that's a really low bar to clear. So tough break there.
Tom, the Vancouver guy, does come in clutch for me though. Ufco did try to do something against Vancouver. I guess he didn't know he scored the game before on something similar, or maybe I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know how, but I thought there was something that I watched. I don't think I watched the game where he scored because I don't know. I don't remember that game whatsoever. But the Vancouver game I watched greatly. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about Winnipeg. And we're moving on because I have nothing to say. Just
yeah.
absolutely
It's
no
it,
thank you.
it's really. I mean, I understand the Connor Scheifele, Morrissey, Velarde. Like I understand like wanting to play at least a piece of it here because of the production. I mean, Mark Scheifele, I don't think it's quiet, but like he's got 82 points in 62 games. Like that is of note. That is something to keep in mind. Nashville's not very good, but this game sucks, and you're did a path play with Kyle Connor, and then you're gonna feel obligated. It's like if you give the mouse a cookie, and it's like all of a sudden you've built a bad lineup pretty fast.
Yeah,
So just don't do it.
I think. I mean, I think you need to have your lines that you go back to in a pinch, no matter what. And if that's not Winnipeg for you, then I don't know why you would go attack this game out of all the options. But if it is your thing, like you say, it's a great argument. I mean, these guys do everything. If Winnipeg does
Do.
anything whatsoever, it will be that top line. So
Let's talk about. I believe the second, maybe third highest. I think it might be the highest total in the on the slate, but it's the San Jose Sharks traveling to Edmonton in a game that is a bit closer, plus 150 for the road Sharks against a minus 180 Oilers team. Many of news to cover on the other side of the coin, but on the San Jose side, is Macklin Celebrini better than Connor McDavid? He sends it to Matt in the studio.
unequivocally, of course he is. Macklin Celebrini is the
Mm,
best hockey player to ever live.
I've heard
Really,
this as well.
really great stuff. I mean, just ridiculous out of Macklin. Without, so we talked on Saturday, got all excited. Igor Chernyshov is back, baby. He is so back. Um,
Mm.
by 7:12, he was concussed in the hospital. So, yeah, not a great time there for old Igor, but hopefully he'll be back. For now, it's Colin Graff, Celebrini, Will Smith. Will Smith has just disappeared. Last few weeks, he's done nothing. You watch him, and it's like, well, hey, why aren't you doing anything? Like, it's not like he's trying to do stuff. Like he's just not doing anything. Um, so that's annoying. I don't love that. Especially for
Mhm,
me, the
mhm.
the guy whose Macklin Celebrini exposure came solely through Will Smith and Best Puck. Hey, how'd that go? Not great. No, I'm asking myself questions here. Alex Wenberg's out. That's like I think really really big news. Not only does it mean this second line drops to likely the third line in terms of minutes, but it also elevates William Eklund to the top power play. And all of a sudden, we get Toffoli and Eklund on a top power play for a line that's 12K with Michael Misa, who, again, is, we talked about it before. He's not really putting in the fantasy underlines that you want to see, but this line on the ice is performing well. Misa has the track record of being, an NHL star in the very near future. Just second round or second overall pick behind Schaefer, which again could mean he's the second best player to ever live. The way Schaefer is pacing, um, so I think there's a lot of upside here. Edmonton's depth takes a huge hit with no Draisaitl. Like it's all looking up here for San Jose's third line, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Edmonton lineup, and after Hyman, McDavid, Savoy, it becomes Dickinson as a second line center. I mean, like you would assume that's who Edmonton's going to try to get out there against Celebrini and McDavid. So I would also assume that this third line is going to see a matchup of like Henrique, Sam Zemansky, and Frederick, who I couldn't be less afraid of. So yeah, I really like this third line as far as a cheaper stack. I think it's probably my favorite cheap stack of the night. And I don't mind Celebrini, but I think I just like the McDavid line a bit more with
Oh,
Matt Savoy and what.
no, I was just going to mention Sam Dickinson's really breaking out. I would not be surprised if he took over a power play soon. He looks awesome with the puck on his stick. I don't know what happened. It took a while. He looked kind of like Vinny Desharnais out there, but recently he's playing with Desharnais, so he's got to carry some of the load, and I think he is finally doing that, which also helps the forwards too because they don't have anyone who's capable of completing a pass other than Sam Dickinson. So that's a guy who, at the minimum, maybe you don't need him on this slate. I think I prefer Levshinov, but if you're stacking San Jose Edmonton, I really do think Dickinson is like almost better than Levshinov in that case. You know what? He is better than Levshinov in that case, just because of the correlation. I'm sticking by it. I think Dickinson looks awesome, and it's a dead minimum, so it doesn't hurt you if he fails.
Fair enough. So yeah, moving over to the Oilers, Matt Savoy up to the top line was not in the top power play. I mean, that of course has to go to Vasily Podkolzin for God knows what reason. McDavid and Hyman, though, being his line mates, is definitely enough at 3,400 to put him into a heavy consideration zone. He does have the prospect pedigree. He has played really well down the stretch this year and will see more ice time than he's used to. I mean, he saw 16 minutes and killed penalties against Nashville. I don't know why that was surprising to me. I guess it shouldn't be that surprising, but just didn't really seem like that was his long-term projection. But he was out there with Dickinson and Henrique and those guys killing penalties. So I guess he could also block some shots for you in a pinch. I think it makes a ton of sense to go to this line. I think a lot of people will do it. Evan Bouchard as well. Like, could he also see a little bit more production at 7,200? Like, makes sense. Like, who's going to take on more of the shot share if it's not Draisaitl on the power play? It feels like Bouchard has always been just as much the trigger guy. I doubt it's Vasily Podkolzin. Maybe they look the Hyman back door, but like the concentration of high offensive minutes is only going down, and it's like Hyman 6,100, Savoy's 3,500. It just makes everything so affordable against a San Jose team that just does not inspire a lot of worry. So what are your thoughts on the Oilers? Do you think they'll be popular given the fact that there's a lot of good spots that we've already named? What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, because Podkolzin's 3K, like that's gonna just make the numbers work. I don't know. It's not good losing Leon Draisaitl. Thinking about Dickinson, RNH, and Roslovic as a line, like that does feel like they chase around Macklin. Um, and Dickinson is, the exact sort of archetype of like a shutdown center in the sense that he doesn't really dominate his opposition, but he's capable of grinding the game to a halt. And I think RNH can feed that as well. So that's my main concern is that like that succeeds and, Macklin's left to just rely on efficiency to get there and make this game, competitive from like the, fire wagon sense. Um, I don't know what the matchup for McDavid Hyman will be. Like, is that going to be the Michael Misa line? In which case, I am kind of concerned. But if they look at, hey, it's Kiefer Sherwood and Philip Kurashev,
Yeah.
they're NHL veterans. Like, show them some respect and put McDavid out there, or they go McDavid Celebrini and just say, yeah, screw it. Like, let's go best on best. In either of those cases, I think this game could be a lot of fun. Which means I think I'm much more likely to play something like expensive McDavid and cheap San Jose Sharks rather than, do something like, Podkolzin, Savoy, McDavid, and, try to play Celebrini in that stack. I would much rather
Yeah.
just go, McDavid with 3 cheaper San Jose guys.
I mean, I think that's kind of the build that I'm working on right now as well. And yeah, I would definitely keep an eye on practice. Like we've seen Roslovic get the top power play. We could see Savoy. So like I wouldn't just pencil in Podkolzin and say like that's the guy I'm going to. But I do think I mean they could be 11-7 even. Like I don't think we know for sure, but there's a lot to uncover here. And like but I just think that like end of the day I'm going to have McDavid, Hyman, and Savoy in my lineup. So I probably do run that back with a couple cheaper guys. I think it's just Eklund to Foley for me. But I'm kind of running out of wing spots in that scenario. So gonna have to do something.
Yeah, like it's either Max Jones or Ty Emberson right now drawing in. So I do think it's 11-7, but we'll see.
Yeah.
In which case, that hurts a guy like Evan Bouchard a ton, who's already not been very good to start with. Like he's putting up points, but the shot volume just hasn't been there, which is concerning when you're 7,200. Like you can't just get there on 12 points like you can as a cheaper mid-tier defenseman. Tampa at Seattle is next. We had a practice today that put Hagel, Sreli, Kucherov, but I didn't want to fix the colors. Like we all know what the deal is here. It's going to be Kucherov with some combination of Point Gensel and Hagel, Sreli. Gage Gonsalves sometimes mixes in because why the hell not? And that's your Nikita Kucherov stack. Down the lineup, it's all the same. It's all nonsense. Interestingly, on defense, Mosier, Radish, Hedman, Chernak, McDonough, Destu. I don't think that means anything for us for fantasy, but maybe it means Rick the Hedman's rounding into health. 3,900 is, I don't know. I would need to see it for a week or two before I really think, oh, Victor Hedman in the 4K range is, worth playing. But yeah, that's my Tampa overview. Not ton of interest, but certainly could get there with Kucherov, obviously.
Yeah, Tampa has a huge implied team total. They're minus 198 on the road in the 6.5. So like, it is interesting. I don't think it takes a lot of effort to think like who it could come through. But I actually respect the Seattle team, unlike most people. So to me, it's Kucherov for bust, and like you're just playing it around Kucherov, and that's not going to be. I think it's just Kucherov Radish for me. Like that's what I would play here if I'm going to do it. But I think I'm going to respect Seattle and continue to do so, and hope that it doesn't burn me here because I do think Tampa will get some level of ownership.
How brave! How brave of you!
It's
to respect
the bravest
your bets.
person ever there was. I mean, again, like Seattle's not, I don't think, a fundamentally broken team. They're just not a high upside team. And I think that they got better. I mean, they're not that Bobby McMahon is going to continue at a, I don't know, 87 goal pace that he's on in the couple games in Seattle. But yeah, like this team is fine. This is a fine hockey team that is defensively sound and has a lot of veterans. They're fine. Like, name a single player on this team that you think is like objectively not an NHL quality player.
Ben Myers. Who is that?
He's a guy. You're probably right. The fourth line is weird. Don't worry about the fourth line. You can skip the fourth line. Other than the fourth line, I mean, they just have.
Okay. Name one player if they were traded to the Buffalo Sabres and Lindy Ruff said, "I'm playing them for 20 minutes a night." You'd be excited about
on this team.
I don't think you can do it.
I mean, I like take Montour back. Can we do that?
See a Bo Byram. I guess DJ hates you. Putting that on a sign.
I don't hate Bo. No, don't put that anywhere. I don't mean it like that. I just mean that like I'd be fine with it. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna say something stupid. It is one of the weirder teams in the NHL. Like, I mean, first and foremost, have no interest in playing them. And please, dude, it's definitely not Chandler Stevenson. That's absolutely for sure. I mean, there's like, I think that's kind of the thing about the Seattle team is like nobody plays 20 minutes a night other than the defensemen because like they're just a bunch of dudes. But like that bunch of dudes, they're just okay by me. I mean, who did play 20 minutes was Bobby McMahon. They went out there and they're like, we got our guy. We got Bobby McMahon, the greatest player on our team now. Played 19 minutes and 6 seconds. He led all the forwards. Like, this is the guy.
Yeah, did I update this? Freaking, I think I did. Okay, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, I did because, yeah, that looks right. Okay, interesting. I just wasn't expecting the expected to be so low given the first couple of games he had, but
I mean, he had
whatever.
8 shots on goal, 3 goals, and assists, I believe, in there. Like he's been doing everything. Like,
Yeah.
oh, no, two. Oh no, I'm wrong.
Um,
He had 2 assists and 3 goals. My bad. So 5 points in 2 games. 8 shots on goal. I mean, I think he carries this 33% shooting percentage onward into
Definitely.
Tampa. So yeah, it's a tough click. I get like if you actually wanted to play Sun Seattle, I get playing McMahon, Beniers, or whatever,
Yeah,
but like I'm not going to do it.
I would have considered it because my friend Berkeley Catton's the minimum salary, but I would have bet my life that this franchise finally figured out that what they needed to break out of this, obscurity that they exist in is to have someone like Catton become an actual star because that's not Shane Wright, that's not Matty Beniers. And Catton's finally flashing. I mean, well, I don't even know if flashing is right. Like he is just bright lights. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do everything with the puck on my stick and look excellent. And then they're like, but you're not getting any power play time. And he's like, oh, okay. So, I mean, they just refuse to develop any of their young players. And so
You know how many minutes
I
he
have no
played in
interest.
that Florida game?
Like fucking four. Like I was a little disappointed in
You're not
because
far off.
Saturday, because Saturday I was
7 minutes
just like,
and 50 seconds.
God, that's so crazy. Like, what the hell is this franchise doing? Like,
That's the
ugh.
thing is that they're infuriating. I mean, the guy is he scored an assist in 7 minutes and 51 seconds. Like
Of course he did. Of
they're
course
just
he
like
did. I mean, yeah,
that.
whatever.
That's enough. Sit down on the bench. Think about what you've done. You've done too well.
Yeah, you. Ugh.
How was he not
And
on either power play? That's actually incredible.
yeah, like just
Uh,
whatever.
Everybody plays on the power play except for the fourth line and Catton.
Yeah,
That's it.
like obviously.
Like everybody else is out there getting power play minutes, but you can't play Berkeley Catton. Yeah, I don't know. It's a dumb team. They're gonna do dumb things. Their fourth line is actually Shane Wright, Capo Caco, and Berkeley Catton, and that line actually scores goals. Just don't play
Yeah,
them. Don't play this game, in my opinion, is sort of my stance. But that's just me. We move on to again
I mean,
another team that I'm just more
oh,
interested in at low prices than
yeah,
Seattle, and that's the Florida Panthers. Um, they're going to roll a top six that is Eetu Luostarinen, Anton Lundell, Mackie Samoskevich, Carter Verhaeghe, Evan Rodriguez, and Matt Tkachuk. There's a chance, I guess. I'm pretty sure Bennett did travel, but I believe the projection here would probably be out. There's no Reinhardt. There's no
I
Brad
mean,
Marchand.
yeah,
I keep an eye on Sam Bennett.
yeah, they are actively tanking. So I do not think that.
I'd be
I,
surprised.
I don't. Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if it matters much for me. Like I understand why you might be interested Florida versus Vancouver, but man, I prefer the Vancouver side by a significant amount, I think, and that's just because I trust the line that we're going to talk about for Vancouver. I trust nothing
Yeah,
here. I mean, they got shelled by Seattle. Whatever goalies happened, Tarasov was abject disaster. Um, but Luis Ryan and Liddell Samoskevich is interesting, but like if they start performing too well, like are they just gonna get benched? Like I literally do not like I know Paul Maurice is so safe in his job that like he could actively turn the nozzle and be like, hey, we need to do this for the for the franchise or whatever. Like it's not like you're fading, awesome recent production or anything from any of these players besides maybe Matt Kachuk, but it's like 7K. It's not like he's
yeah,
been getting 20 a night. So I'm finding it really hard to be excited about anything to do here, especially because the power play is just getting even weirder. Like it's sucking now, and Balinskis is nowhere to be found. He's not even on the second unit. That's Michael Benning, who, to his credit, has decent AHL numbers, but like we just saw Balinskis run an Olympic power play, and then he comes back home, and the corpse of Aaron Ekblad is over him, and now some no name from the AHL that they drafted 6 years ago comes in and is like, yeah, actually, that's my job, and it's like, what are we doing here? Like, I just I don't think they're doing anything that we want to be a part of. Is really my take. Like I think they are the closest thing to an active tank job that we have going, which again is said in a league where Vancouver exists, but Vancouver's just bad. Like I think Florida's
yeah.
tanking.
Yeah, I mean, I put Mackie Samoskevich on the cover because whenever he's gotten this massive elevated role, we've seen some good production, some great rate
I get
stats,
it.
and a guy that just
It
has all
just
the skill in the world. So like, but like you
yeah,
could one off him. I mean, I think again, like even if you're saying like this team is tanking, like I think Samoskevich plays. Like they're
yeah,
gonna
and at
give
the
this
same
younger.
time
I think
though,
like younger guys play. Like yeah.
like is Matt Kachuk really an elevator the way that Barkov is? Like, I mean, what we're talking about is a team that before was like, oh, when
No.
Sam Miskevich gets a role, it's because Barkov exists. And like, I don't know, Lindell's fine, but he certainly hasn't made kings out of anyone on Florida this year. And like Sam Miskevich is almost 4K already. It's not like we're getting in
Yeah.
on the ground floor. Like, not really. Like that's Brock Besser price. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm showing all my cards
I
before we get to Vancouver, but
Yeah, I know your poker faces is not great. I like Florida just fine. I also love Vancouver though, so we can move over. I think we've covered this enough. I think that there's worth consideration on both
yeah.
sides, and on this side, it feels obvious where to go. I'm
Yeah,
not
we
gonna
have
I'll let you take the reins actually because you seem excited.
Well, we have new lines for Vancouver, which is noteworthy because they change all the time. And we have the Brusque back with Pedersen, so 9,300 for that combo. Drew O'Connor checks in 2,800. He's somehow been one of their better producers over the last 10 games. Their best by expected, and he's fifth on the team by actual. So congratulations to Drew O'Connor on that achievement. Ogren, Rossi, Besser, Hoglander, Ratu, Kane, Sasson, Bluger, and Carlson. So as you'll see, the first and the third line, as I have here, are switched up and all around, and because well, Vancouver sucks, but they have one line that they've kept together now for multiple weeks, and that's Ogren, Rossi, Besser. It's 11K for Rossi Besser. They're on the top power play together. Like I don't see how against a tanking Florida team that sucks out loud, wants to lose,
Mm.
and has like no redeeming talent that they're playing, other than Matt Kachuk, I guess, who they're like, hey, you get hurt all the time now. Why don't you go play meaningless games? And he's like, oh, okay. Like I don't know. Like just this feels to me like where I want to go if I'm punting on this slate with a line stack to play something more expensive. So
Yeah, I
I,
mean both these teams in back-to-back games against Seattle both got absolutely eviscerated. Um, not a great sign for a Seattle team that is actively not trying to score goals. It feels like so both of them suck defensively, and anybody in an elevated role against them is in a good spot. I think that I mean, the thing is like you're saying, like Vancouver's not even trying to tank; they're just bad. Like Kane, Pedersen, these guys are seeing big minutes too. I just Kane's, but is Kane? Yeah, oh yeah, he's back on the third line, isn't he? God, tough
yeah.
break for him. Should have got traded. Um, yeah, I mean, second line is definitely my pick. I would remember when like we were playing Jake DeBrusk for a little while. What happened
Yeah,
there? Why did he stop
that was
shooting?
an interesting time. He just stopped jamming in pucks the way Brady
Yeah,
Kachuk does in front of the goalie, and it happens, I
he got up to
guess.
like 5,300, and now he's 4,300, and it feels like a guy worth buying on, but he's not even playing in minutes. He played 11 and 13 in the last two games. I mean,
Well,
granted, they
that
got
was because he was playing with Ratu as a center, so there's
yeah, that's
something
true.
there to him
He's
moving up the lineup.
yeah, bump back up. I mean, yeah, I think that's worth keeping an eye on, and
The hell?
maybe worth. I don't know. I might consider it. What?
I figured out the problem why Elias Pettersson's broken. Somehow it picked up the D-man's AHL stats from this year, and somehow the age appended to it is 126 years old. I don't know how that
I
happens.
mean, that makes
I've
sense for his
never
why
seen
his
that
age
before.
curve is so fucked up.
But
Like a guy
I
that
think
scored like 110 points at like 19.
if I were 126 years old, I guess I'd have bad knees too.
I
Is how I read that. All right. Well,
I
just
mean,
God,
all I can say is that, like, if you tomorrow turn over the cards and you see the winning lineup has DeBrusque and Pedersen in it, that is the bravest person that's ever existed. And I would just simply tip my cap to that person, but it won't be me. I would rather play Vancouver too. I just feel like at some point there has to be a line in the sand of like Pedersen and DeBrusque together, 5-on-5, power
yeah,
play one. They're so cheap. They're playing the deadest of dead teams. And I just don't even
Yeah,
think that's enough to get me over the edge. But I would say, like, I get it. I definitely get it.
I don't think it's any of our lovely listeners that are doing this, so take that for what it's worth. But I have seen Philip Hronik get lots of ownership lately. In practice today, he was splitting power play one reps with Steve Buiam. Obviously, that could just be a practice thing, and Hronik plays power play one. But you're going to see Hronik projected as power play one across the industry, and just know that there's a little bit more uncertainty than usual because Buiam was practicing with that unit as well, like a
Yeah.
rotation sort of thing. But yeah, we're
And
not playing
Williams
Steve
getting
Buiam
the
until he
minutes.
shows
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, he's getting the minutes, but he's not doing anything with them. That was all I was going to say. So
All right.
we'll see if that changes. We move over to the best team in the NHL playing against, I don't know, cannon fodder at this point. I think Vegas team that never beats playoff teams. So it's going to be tough for them to win this one against a very clear playoff team in Buffalo. Buffalo traveling to Vegas. They're going on a bit of a West Coast trip where I'm certain they're going to win every single game based on recent results, other than one game that I don't like to talk about against Washington. They have three lines that play a lot of minutes, fourth line that is totally fine, not playable at all in daily fantasy, but they do things once in a while. Benson, Thompson, Oslin, Doan, Norris, Tuck, Zucker, McLeod, Quinn, Samuelson should be back. It sounds like not
Mhm.
confirmed, but seemed very likely. Byram, Power. Not sure about the last unit, but it does sound like Metza's going to stay in the lineup at this point. And I expect, as you have it here, to be Kesselring. But I do think that like part of the trades was to getting Chen and Stanley was to like offload some minutes from other guys, and that's kind of continued to show up, especially on the penalty kill where Shen and Stanley have been a part of it, like to maybe take some of those bigger, more dangerous minutes away from some of these other defensemen that might block a shot and get hurt, and you're missing them for the first round of the playoffs. So, all this to say, like in reality, I'm not that interested in playing the Sabres in any capacity. They're about
Yeah,
as expensive as they've been. Valpolin is 7,500, Tage is 8,400. Even Norris has come up in price. He's almost 5K now when he was like 4,200 a week ago. Tuck has been productive, but he's like, you just go up and down this lineup and everything feels too expensive, including even Zach Benson, who's climbing in price, which I get. Like his role is increased, like his price should increase, but he hasn't done anything either. So I'll let you talk about our favorite boys in the blue and gold, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, the pricing here is a little weird. I do think Benson and Tage are kind of interesting. Actually, Tuck was back against Toronto, right?
I
Did
thought so.
they
Yeah.
show a
Yeah, he
power
scored.
play?
They scored on the second power play because I bet all their first
Okay,
power
so
play guys were
actually it was
there.
Osland. So no Benson on that power play, but Osland did
Nah,
play on
right.
it. So 20, like, because you look across the lineup, like you're saying, it's all more expensive. Tage hasn't moved. Osland hasn't moved. Everyone else has gone way up. So, like, by kind of process of elimination, I do think that Tage and Osland are interesting. Osland has a bunch of prospect pedigree. It's not like he's not someone who's in the top six that you're like, this guy could be, really good in the future. Like, he's a young guy, blah, blah, blah. And so he's not been excellent by any stretch, but playing with Tage, playing on a power play, there's worse things you can do than playing a 2,700 Noah Osland. But yeah, I don't know if you need to go all the way to play Zach Benson, it's fine. But the top line's the only ones that I would play here. And then I would consider defensemen, like we talked about. It's very uncertain what they do on a game-to-game basis now down the stretch. So long as it's something like Metza, Kesselring, or Shen, rather than Logan Stanley on the third pair, that should be wheels up for this top four decor. Darlene went way up in price, but no one else did between Samuelson, Byron, Power. So that would be pretty good if it does look like this come the morning. All right, Vegas final team. They won 4-0 against Chicago. Ho hum, easy does it. So expecting it to remain the same: Barbashev, Eichel, Stone, Dorofeyev, Hurdle, Marner, Howden, Sissons, Bowman, Decor, Hannafin, Anderson, McNabb, Shea Theodore. Shea Theodore is 3,500. That's a very interesting price tag. He's been better of late. He's not been great, but we were talking, a couple weeks ago, a week and a half ago, about an expected DK point number in the twos. Like it was a really dark there for a little bit, and now it's better. So it's not great, but 3,500 Shea Theodore is of note. Like you just simply can't ignore that entirely. The matchup should be up tempo. He's gonna play 20 plus minutes with this lineup just because Lozon and Korjak are really much of anything. Um, they have stapled him less to Eichel than before, is the only concern. But even then, like, if anything, it's 50-50 at worst. And let's go another step further. Or if I have Hurdle Marner might just be better than the Eichel line offensively. So I'm
Fair.
not sure that it matters a ton. So any thoughts on Vegas here?
I mean, I guess I'm tentatively interested. I mean, the pricing is just so good here that it's hard to ignore, especially that second line. I mean, Dorofeyev, Hurdle, Marner were one of my favorite stacks against Chicago. I mean, you would think I must have won a lot of money, and I did at least bet a couple goal props there, but man, should have gone all the way in on Dorofeyev, who had a 35 bomb. Marner came along for at least 10 because he doesn't shoot or block any shots, so didn't
God,
really get there on his own, even though he had 2 assists. Good for him finding a way. And you would think, well, then Hurdle must have done something. Oh, he had 7.3. So it was all
absolutely.
Dorofeyev somehow, um,
As it should be.
which is just
He fucking
not even
rocks.
Jack Eichel. I
Like,
mean, not even Jack Eichel came along for the ride. Like, it was just kind of like, it's just funny. I don't know. It's just funny when I
yeah,
looked at
man.
that. I was like, zero of the guys you'd expect came along
Well,
with
just
Dorofeyev. But
think of how their power play operates, and it's Jack
mhm,
Eichel says, "Hey, I'm gonna shimmy a bit, and then give the puck to Mark Stone, and Mark Stone's gonna old man power his way to the front of the net, and then he's gonna feed to our five back door, and they're gonna score, and they're gonna do that
that's
3 to 4
what they did.
times a game, and hopefully it works, and it probably will work once or twice." And the secondary assist goes kind of randomly to Eichel, Marner, or Hurdle. Like it's truly astonishing to watch. And like, I don't know how Mark Stone does it, but just I don't know. He's got some sort of supercomputer back there that's like, taking into account the Earth's atmosphere to know exactly how to get that pass through. But it's their only play. It is an incredibly successful play, and I hope it never ever stops because Dorofeyev is awesome.
You know what? I couldn't agree more with you. So, with that being said, I don't hate the idea of the second line. I don't hate the idea of Jack Eichel, revenge narrative at home, et cetera, et cetera. But the Sabres are still a good team and a tough matchup. So, I think at the end of the day, I will not end up with this, but I wouldn't call you stupid if you did. And Dorofeyev would certainly be a part of it no matter what.
All right. That's all 9 games, DJ. I think we get to
It's all
top
nine
stacks,
games.
guaranteed goals. And we get to watching this absolute onslaught of goals in
I
Pittsburgh,
know.
Colorado.
Oh, I wanted to see who got the assist on this goal. Is this Gavin Brindley? Why isn't that? Did they forget to give? Isn't Kadri out there? Okay, I'll check if Kadri got an assist in a minute. We should talk about the top stacks and guarantee goals. I am just going to be not brave and say Edmonton. Shockingly, the Savoy, Hyman, McDavid, Gobert.
Okay. I am going to go Montreal, Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Caulfield.
Wow, we are. I mean, I gotta say, we are super brave. Starting off with two absolute bangers. Uh, I mean, I simply can't take Vancouver from you, being as I feel like you're going to go with Vancouver.
If
And
you
I
want it,
also
you
don't
can
really want
have
to
it.
just. No, I don't. There's a lot of
You
cheap
don't.
stacks I like. Are you gonna take it?
You call me a
What is your
bad
second
poker
stack?
player. No, no,
You're better than me
it's
at
yours.
poker.
You're
Fine. I'll take Vancouver too. Screw it.
great. See, that's how I know I'm a good salesman. Um, I'm gonna go Columbus too. Kent Johnson, Sean Monahan, Connor Garland. What about Connor Garland? Someone asked in the chat earlier. I say, sure, I like Connor Garland. You know what I really like? I like cheap lines at 10K that are playing well right now. So that seems pretty good to me.
Well, if it seems good to you, then it seems even better to me. So, with that being said, we get to our guaranteed goals. I think last time we were 3 for 4, but I know Marcus though didn't score because he ruined my entire life. So yeah, why don't you start it off hot and ready and hot and fast? You got one for me?
Hot and ready, hot and fast. Yeah, I'm gonna go Tyler Toffoli, 4,500.
Toffoli. Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. He's a good player who does a lot of good things. Tyler Toffoli. I'll go. Give me Emil Heineman, 3,400.
Wow. Funny enough, two of the guys in the 6 to 6.5K range that I have left are not Minnesota Wild, are New York Islanders. So I was
You
about
looking
to
at
hit you
Barzal
with
Horvat?
no, I was about to hit you
Wow.
with the Matthew Schaefer banger for his
God,
thousands of fans.
thank the Lord I didn't let you have that.
Yeah,
That's
God
the
forbid you take
smartest
a
move.
guy who scored 20 goals in a fucking electric factory of a season. Yeah, no, God forbid. You're right. I saved you from that.
No,
All right, so I am going to. Wait, you didn't take any Vegas, right?
no.
Like at all?
I mean, no,
Okay, door five.
no.
Easy. Guarantee
Yeah,
goal.
it doesn't seem hard at all. It's store
I
five,
mean,
right?
I,
Okay.
I just told you how he's scoring, too. Like, if you need the guaranteed goal method, Dorofeyev on a power play goal from Mark Stone is, I think minus 600 on the books right now.
Wow, there's quite a few good options here, but I might use every last. No, I'm not gonna do that. I am gonna go. Am I allowed to pick Cole Caulfield? Is that allowed? It was one of your stats,
Can.
wasn't it?
Just means you have
Yeah,
no gumption, no guile.
I don't. Well, I don't. This is true. You're you're speaking the right language. I wanted enough for Matt Boldy, and I did not do that. He is
Boy,
8,200. That you
if
know
only
what?
you had the exact
I
right
guess
amount of money for someone in that game.
it's Connor Bedard. I know. All right, fine. Connor Bedard, you win.
You got bullied into taking Connor Bedard. That's tough.
God,
Wild Legion in the
I wish
chat's going to be on you when he doesn't score.
everyone's going to be on me when he doesn't score because, yeah. Well, that is what it is. I love Connor Bedard, and I still think he is just as good as Michael Celebrini. So, sue me.
Gosh, the IRS is about to reject your tax you submitted yesterday
They
because
actually already accepted.
oh well, I guess that's before they knew you had this take.
They will come to my house and be auditing me for the sole purpose of listening to my hockey takes and
Yeah.
telling me how wrong I am. But yeah, we've gone far enough into this at this point. I think it's time to go watch the circus game.
All right. Well, good thing it's just about to hit intermission. So we have 18 minutes of nonsense coming on up for you. As far as the rest of this week, we will have a Thursday show. When you say you have Thursday hockey, it means you play Thursday night, right?
Right, Thursday night. Yeah,
Okay.
it
I
might be
thought
the
so.
last of the season, so there will be a break
So,
until.
uh,
Whatever. Keep going.
so what that means is Wednesday around this time, once again, 9 o'clock live on DJ's YouTube channel. Actually, I think it simulcasts on mine too. That's what this little check mark means.
It
So
does. Yep.
that's great. You can watch it on either of ours, but you should watch it on DJ's because that's what helps us toward the subscriber stuff that happens on
We're
YouTube.
gonna be rich in no time.
Exactly. We're gonna make up for all these lost Brant Clark bets in no time.
Ugh.
And on this weekend, I'm out, so no newsletter Friday, no no stream from me on Saturday, and then
I'm actually
we'll
gone
be back
too.
next week.
That's a good point. Oh my god, I'm gonna be in Oneida on Saturday, so I can't even. I'm gonna have to bet before I leave.
Oh wow, you gotta set a reminder for yourself. There's like
Uh,
a dry county in New York State that DJ has to go
yeah,
to every so often. That's very funny.
and you legitimately can't use DraftKings. I can use like every other sports book, but DraftKings is geo blocked. And I was like arguing with someone. I'm like, this is impossible. Like, I'm in the middle of the state because they were like, well, you might be too close to Canada. And I'm like, that isn't true at all. Like,
You are
just give me the
physically
reason. Like, it's
as close to the middle of the state as you can get. Yeah.
there is a town called, I think, Centerville that's like a few miles away. That's the dead center of New York State. And I'm like, I am not in Canada. Like, it's just not remotely true. Like, I don't know. And I was like, I'm in Oneida. And they're like, well, it's geoblocked. Like, where you are is, I'm like, I'm not arguing that I'm geoblocked or not. I'm saying
But
I
like,
don't understand
why?
how.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
like why, right?
How does
They're just
nobody
like
know the
gaslighting me.
answer? Yeah.
And like, yeah, like, I feel like there's like some unwritten rule where they can't talk about the. Well, I mean, it's where Turning Stone is. Like, I figured it out on my own. I just wanted them to say it. I wanted them to tell me that. They
Yeah.
refused. Cowards.
All right.
I'll have to
Well,
go to the casino, play poker without you because you have a bad poker face.
it's tough. That's tough. I've never been more insulted to hear DJ call me a bad poker player because of my poker face.
I'm a bad
I would
poker
say
player
DJ
because I'm
can read
bad
me
at
like a
poker.
book, but we all know we can't read. So,
Can't read, so it'd be tough to do. Like I did
um,
make a joke at hockey where I made a bad pass and I said, "God, I got read like a coloring book there," and someone laughed pretty hard at that. I think that was so stupid that they laughed. They're like, yeah, I was like, there's nothing really to read, so you just look at it, you know what you're supposed to. I just kind of like said that like it was like a normal expression. It's not.
um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to end this. So I think we covered all we need to. Follow me on Twitter at Fake Moods. DJ's at DJ underscore Mitchell 94. If for some reason you want to tail my god awful bets, come on into the Discord. DJ also posts his stuff in there as well. And I think that'll do it from us. So again, no newsletter from me on Friday, no stream this weekend, but we will be back on Wednesday evening for the Thursday slate. So that'll do it from us, from Doug, from DJ, from myself. Have a good Tuesday, everybody, and we will see ya.
You're saying they're looking like an idiot.
Well, is that any different than normal?
This is the first time I will admit was unbelievably wrong.